Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Mira, and I will be playing Sammy Jax this morning. And with me is the very wonderful
Winona, and I'll be playing Mad Lad this morning.
whom we love very, very much. All
Yes,
right.
my chaotic little boy.
All right. Diving right into it. Mad Lad, you're wandering around Toontown, as is kind of the want. And I want you to roll me perception, please.
Alrighty. Let me just double check what his perception is. Okay, cool. Okay. Wait, no spaces. I almost did a space. 15!
Okay, with a 15, you almost immediately notice when you are crossing the street from one block to the next. In the middle of the street, as you step across the middle, everything goes silent. And as you look around, you realize that where people had been just kind of idly milling around, going about their business, shopping, it's silent, and no one's here anymore. What are you gonna do?
Mad Lad slowly takes out his hand cannon because, this is Toontown. There's noise. Why is there no noise anymore? What's going on?
Mm-hmm. And as you're kind of warily looking around a little bit more, you kind of, with that 15, you notice that this part of Toontown looks really abandoned. Like, there's some shops that are boarded up. There's obviously been glass blown out from, some sort of fighting. There's kind of just... It's incredibly desolate, this part of town.
Yeah, he's actually been to the more abandoned side of Toontown before. So he probably recognized he's in sort of that town area and then puts away his hand cannons and he's like, huh, I must have dazed off more than I thought. I didn't think I came this far out. And he's gonna be a little bit more relaxed.
Mm-hmm. It does kind of you kind of are still slightly on edge though, just for the fact that it is so quiet. Even when you've wandered into more of the abandoned parts of Toontown, it's never been this quiet.
I see. Interesting.
There's a stillness in the air, but as you are kind of reassuring yourself that everything's going to be okay, you look up, and up ahead there is an old abandoned theater. The sign has been long eroded away that you can't even tell what was showing before all of this kind of semi-apocalyptic part of Toontown happened or whatever. You don't know what it could be there. That could be a T, there could be an H. You just don't know. And
but it's theater-like, though,
yes.
in architecture.
Yep.
Alan smiles at that. He's like, I wonder if there's anything left in the food vendor stalls, and he goes right in.
So when you go inside the theater, you kind of notice that someone's kind of been in here a bit. There's obvious signs of someone trying to restore the theater with some mosaics and just kind of cleaning things up, and it's not as desolate in here, but as your eyes kind of travel around, you notice that there is leading out into the backyard, because this isn't really exactly a theater where you would go and watch movies. This is a lot older than that. You would go in here to watch plays and operas and kind of those kind of productions. So you kind of look around and notice that, oh, this isn't actually the same kind of theater where you'd go and watch the Engineers movies. All right. But
He's actually kind of a little bit more used to that because he actually, say, before he came to Inkwell, he traveled outside of it, so he actually is sort of a little bit happy to see it because he is sort of a little bit more used to actual theaters for acting rather than
mhm,
movie theaters.
mhm. So yeah, like you don't really. I'm not gonna make you roll for this part. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really find any old vendor stalls or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clearly empty, even though someone has been restoring the interior of the theater. But as
Mm-hmm.
you go farther into the theater, you notice that there is uh sorry, my brain just blanked. There are like two wide kind of doors, and one of them is open and it leads into this courtyard.
Hmm. Bad Lad's gonna be curious about the open door and like look into the courtyard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, since you are looking into a new area and stuff, feel free to roll me another perception check.
All right.
Okay, with a 7, you don't really see much. You see a lot of flowers. There's a ton of flowers in this place, and like you you kind of like they kind of look like they're organized, but you don't exactly know how organized they are and stuff because I don't know if you know gardening, but yeah, there's a lot of flowers here though. It's really pretty.
Yeah, Bad Lad was already interested in seeing this place already kept up, and now he's seeing the flowers. He walks into the courtyard to examine the flower more. It's like he's curious if these are like regular homegrown flowers or if these like wild flowers that are natural. Say he's very curious what kind of flowers that are in here.
While you're looking at the flowers, roll me a nature check real quick.
All right. What is my nature? That's a stat I haven't used for a long. Okay, that's the same. Okay, nat
Okay.
20.
Nat 20. With a nat 20, you immediately realize as you're looking at these flowers that these flowers are planted. They have been well tended. They are kind of, some of them are in the actual ground instead of being in the planter boxes that you finally realize are planter boxes. And as you look up, you see that there are these vines of that are kind of intertwined with the trees surrounding
Mm-hmm.
the garden area that have these roses that are kind of gilded gold and kind of they emit slightly a golden light. Like they are like both red and gold, and
Ooh.
they like you look at them and you realize that if it were dark, it would be absolutely gorgeous to look at because you would be seeing these gorgeously animated, glowing roses at night. And as you kind of look around even more, you notice that there are some rainbow iridescent lilies in a fountain that you didn't really notice before. That's kind of trickling out
Mm-hmm.
in the, and it has a statue of a woman who is holding a spear with glass rainbow hair, and out of the spear is where the water is fountaining out of. And as you just kind of look around, you also notice that there are some rainbow flowers that are kind of just dotted here and there. They seem a little bit more wild, but just as well tended as everything else in this garden. And you can immediately tell just by had this closer look around that this place is incredibly well kept in
Yeah, that.
comparison even to everything outside and the theater itself.
Mm-hmm. Say, Mad Lad's just looking around of all this nature. He's like, oh, never seen any flowers like this before. Man, Mama would have loved this. And he just like takes a look at the golden roses, and then he wanders over to like the rainbow flowers, and then finally like steps below the lilies, and he looks up at the he goes over to the statue, looks at it, like that. Let's say, and he just looks at the statue. He has no idea who this person is, but he's like, "Wow, you're very pretty too." And sort of say he looks down at the like iridescent lilies. Ugh. Makes me sort of miss Mama a little bit. He looks at the water and looks at the lilies, sort of just plays with the water. He just sort of sits there, just contemplating now, just with a sort of wistful look in his eyes, just remembering with fond memories. But yeah, there's a sort of melancholy to it. As he just like uses hands, splashes around in the water.
Okay. Is Mad Lad being quiet at all, or is he just kind of vibing?
He's vibing. He's not listening to anything else.
All right. Why don't you give me like one more perception check real quick, just to see if you're entirely distracted by everything around you.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say so.
Yeah, okay. So you don't really notice the person that approaches you from behind until he kind of quietly clears his throat and is just like, are you lost?
And Mad Lad just jumps as he doesn't know the story, like takes out his hand cannon and is like ready to shoot.
Whoa, it's okay. It's you're in my garden. Can you put
this is your garden? And he like lowers the gun slowly.
And standing kind of behind you, but now in front since you turned around, is a very tall Toon with rainbow hair with a charcoal mask over his nose. And he just kind of is holding one of the pots that have been kind of scattered about the garden area with a little bit of like some more rainbow. It's interesting. You haven't really seen any of the other this type of plant in the rest of the garden. It's kind of like a shrubbery, not shrubbery. It's one of those plants that have
is it like a hydrangea? Or
the thing is, I love plants, but I can't for the life of me ever remember their names. It's
fair enough.
It's kind of more of the leafy kind of. They kind of like to spill out of the pot a bit.
Oh, is it like a fern?
Maybe? I don't know. Use your imagination. It's rainbow colored.
Fair enough.
Like my brain is giving me a mental image, but it's not giving me enough words to actually describe it. So I'll show you a picture later of what I mean.
Maybe I would recognize it later, but we'll continue on.
Yeah, we're not gonna derail the entire FPS just for trying to figure out one plant. Anyways, so he's holding this plant that's rainbow colored, and he just kind of is just like cautiously eyeing the cannon in your hands, Mad Lad, and he's just kind of like, technically it's my mom's, but I just take care of it for her. And his shading is kind of purple at this point because he's still kind of leaning away from you, kind of just like, don't shoot. I would have my hands up if I wasn't holding this pot.
It's your mom's, and he fully puts away the gun.
And he kind of nods his head towards the statue that is behind you. Yeah, it's hers.
Oh. She must have been pretty famous then if there's a statue of her.
Roll insight.
He doesn't know what Prismatone is.
I know.
And all he knows is like, this could be a famous actress, since this is a theater. Oh my gosh!
Okay, Thankfully, this isn't really a high DC because Sammy's emotions are on his skin, my friend. You kind of see his eyes kind of scrunch up a bit because famous, yeah, sure, famous. That's one way to put that. And he just kind of like it, like he kind of just like slowly sets the pot down, kind of, and just is like, no, she's technically my deity as well as my mom.
That the same that like cost ahead. Your mother is a god.
Adopted. She basically adopted me. It's yeah. She's not actually my real biological parent. Not
I
that it
mean,
matters, but
I agree. It doesn't really matter. And he looks up at the statue again. Are they? This may sound like a stupid question, but are they a toon god?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the deity of voice and characterization, and he kind of just taps his chest where his heart is.
Oh, and Mad Lad like I say you can roll an insight for Mad Lad.
Okay, let's see. That's +1 to your insight, Sammy. That's a 9.
You can with a 9, you can see a little discomfort as he points towards the chest, and because he's like thinking, oh, the heart characterization probably equals soul, and he is saying Mad Lad feels a little bit uncomfortable with that sort of motion.
Sammy kind of blinks and is just like, it's she doesn't control us. That's not really her domain. She just kind of helps the cycle out.
I never. What's her name? I don't know any toon gods. I'm not originally from Inkwell.
Her name's Prismatone. And you don't even really need to roll insight on this, Mad Lad. Sammy's voice is incredibly fond as he kind of looks up at Prismatone, and he's like, she saved me a while back. So
Saved you? Saved you how? And Mad Lad's sort of like maybe sitting on like the edge of the pond now, like waiting for like story time. He's interested.
Sammy kind of laughs, and his shading, it was purple, but now it's more of a kind of pink edged with gold. And he just kind of rubs the back of his neck. He's like, well,
you change color.
Yeah. That's one of my characterization bits, you could say.
Oh, I never met a toon that could change color before.
We're rare. The rarities tend to get the spotlight, though. So, but yeah, I change color with my emotions. And he kind of rubs the back of his head a little bit more, and it's just like, and dovetailing right into that, for a long time I actually shut off my emotions because some dangerous people were after me, and my shading turning colors was an extreme. It was a tell that these people would be able to find me with. So I, being young and not understanding how it would hurt me, I suppressed all of my emotions. But Prismatone helped me break through my own block that I'd set up to protect myself, and And he kind of just wiggles his hand at you, Mad Lad, because like his shading is kind of like that same rose tinted gold color
Mm-hmm.
on his hand. It's just like, oh, I can actually feel things, and it's hard, but I wouldn't want to go back to not feeling anything.
I I mean, a Mad Lad just like sort of clenches his own chest. I'm glad that you're happy at least. Uh, there's things. He... Mad Lad just sighs. I can understand being on the run though, and he's holding back right now because he's sort of he can without a roll he could definitely tell this child's nervous.
Sammy kind of just like sits down on the ground in front of Mad Lad, and he's just like, "Do you want to talk about it? I mean, I just barely stopped running this past year, so I understand."
Here, same here, and I used to have a family, but long, but maybe a year. I don't even know how long it's been. After the ship, we were attacked. I don't know by who, but the captain, my mama, was very scared. I was the only survivor, and I eventually made my way here. Found another family, but I've always been a little bit afraid of who attacked our ship in the first place.
Uh, roll me insight real quick.
Okay. Nope.
Nat one.
That's a nat one.
I can't give you anything with a nat one. Roll again. Dice Purser's being a jerk.
It is. That's better.
Okay, with a 14, I can give you stuff. All right. As you kind of are talking about how you'd lost your own family and you don't know who attacked you on your ship, there is an immediate shading shift tone on Sammy's face, and he kind of looks at you, Mad Lad, and just takes in how young you are, at least in appearance, because Toon's age is
Yes.
funny. And
Oh no, you can. I mean, yeah, but you can definitely tell this is a kid.
yeah, I know, but like I'm just saying, like some kid Toons are a lot older than you think, but he's taking in the fact that this is obviously a kid, and just there's just like the very audible of like the heartstrings being tugged, and he just his shading is now like a very deep dark blue, and you don't even really have to like. Well, I had you roll to see how much I could give you, but like even with like basically like if you had just gotten a 4 without the nat 1, you would have been able to realize that this Toon understands being on the run, being the only survivor of a family, and not knowing why. And he just kind of reaches out a hand towards you, Mad Lad, and he's just like, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm glad you found another family, but it's hard to lose your family in the first place.
Mad Lad takes a hand and just like squeezes it. It's like, is it okay that I still miss them?
Yeah, it's perfectly okay to still miss them. I miss my own family, and it's been 8, almost 9 years now.
Mad Lad nods. Your garden sort of reminds me of my mom. We used to go, say, a lot. I don't know exactly where, but there's this place that was very far away from Inkwell that was a giant flower field. Had many, many different flowers in it. a lot of the wildflowers, of course, but she taught me how to make daisy chains and crowns.
Sammy's eyes crinkle at that, and he looks at you, Madla, and he's like, well, if you want, we could make some flower crowns out of some of the flowers here. Mom and I
Yeah!
wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I would love that! And his first instinct is to go over to the golden roses because his mother was a pirate. She liked gold, but I'm gonna just let this happen for character development. You know about roses. Roses have thorns.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up to snatch one of the roses, and he like fully grips this rose, and he's like, ouch! And he pulls back his hand.
Oh.
And he like looks at it, but the moment he noticed like he's bleeding, you could tell this child freezes.
Hey, it's okay. Sammy kind of gets to his feet and walks over to Mad Lad, and it's like
Bad Lad immediately moves away.
Sammy stops, and then he kind of just reaches out his hand, and it's like, "Can I see your hand? I'm a cleric. It's okay."
But Mad Lad is Mad Lad. You can see in Mad Lad's eyes there is absolute terror. But you may not like what you see.
It's okay. I won't judge you.
Say, okay, we're just do that. Okay, say Mad Lad looks at him, and like this, he probably already trusts him a little bit just because they had very similar experiences. He slowly reaches out his hand, and you see his hand bleed. It looks pretty much exactly like real kind blood.
Sammy kind of just gently wipes the the blood away from Mad Lad's hand with kind of like his sleeve, and then with the wiping away of the basically uses that moment to cast Cure Wounds on Mad Lad, and is like, it's okay.
You're not scared of me?
Sammy kind of sighs and kind of just tucks his knees underneath Mad Lad, so underneath him, so he can be eye level with Mad Lad, and is like, "You're a kid. How can I be scared of a kid? Especially when
Make
it's
an
hurting."
insight roll.
Okay, that's a +1. That's 12.
With a 12, you get that Mad Lad's taken aback by that a bit, but at the same time, he's definitely like, he's just like thinking of he looks like he's thinking of something but not saying anything. It's just like, well, the first time my crew, at least Jimmy in particular, he was the only other Toon on board. When he saw my blood, he freaked out a bit. I don't know why, but well, I thought blood was supposed to look like this. Everyone else on board had blood like this.
Was the rest of the crew real kind?
Mad Lad nods. I thought all blood looked like this, but he just like he shifts in place. Apparently not.
Well, Toons can come in all shapes and sizes, and their ink or blood is honestly depends on the rating, or if they have real kind ancestry. Was your mom real kind as well?
Mad Lad shrugs. I don't know who my mom was. They just found me in the ocean one day.
And Sammy just kind of nods quietly, and he's like, well, even if you have real kind parents or a parent, it doesn't change the fact that you're you. You shouldn't be judged by your blood or ink. It's real kind. Not all of them are bad.
I know that. My mom was at least my mom I knew when she found me. I didn't know anything when I was first picked up onto our crew, but she took care of me and she became my mom.
Sammy's eyes crinkle at that. He's like, I'm glad she took care of you. I I've known a lot of real kind who weren't so good, but one of my closest friends is a real kind, and he makes really good curry.
Curry?
Mm-hmm. It's this kind of spicy dish that you can eat with rice. It's really good.
Huh. That sounds nice. Uh, that lad's just like turns around, but uh, he's sort of at a loss for words right now because he's just like I don't know. He's still a little bit nervous from him Sammy seeing his blood.
Mm-hmm. And Sammy kind of just gives Mad Lad's hand a gentle squeeze, and then kind of just lets Mad Lad take it back, and is like, how about I get the roses for you, and dethorn them a bit."
Okay.
And Sammy's gonna roll athletics. Well, no, actually, I should do acrobatics because he's gonna be climbing a pecking tree. Okay, with a 12, it doesn't fail, but like it's very obvious that he is very out of practice with climbing a tree. But he manages to get up into the branches, and it takes a few moments before some of the vines with the roses on top kind of there's a rustling, and then thump as some of the roses just kind of fall down with the vine that it's attached to. Because it's not like a traditional rose bush, it's like growing on vines. Because tunes.
Yeah.
And
Nyla chuckles a bit as he watches him.
yeah, so like there's several vines that fall out from the trees, and it's enough to make some crowns out of the roses if you wanted.
I say Nyla is definitely going to.
Mm-hmm. And Sammy, let's just make just for funsies. Let's see how climbing down works. 14, a little bit better. He manages to get down with no real issues, and just kind of spends a moment dethorning the roses before handing them to Mad Lad.
Nyla immediately starts his making of a flower crown, and he's like, so maybe you can tell me a little bit more about this prismatone. I've never heard of any Toonkind gods. Jimmy didn't like talking about them. I suppose that he used to follow one once, but after what happened to him, guess he doesn't feel like their reaches, they don't go past Inkwell.
Well, she's, like I said, she's like the deity of voice and characterization. What we kind of believe as the core part of your soul. But she respins our souls from the pool of reincarnation, so to speak. She makes sure that your lifeline is secure around your soul, and then she sends you off to start your next story.
Hmm. Mad Lad listens to this and he's just quiet. I don't think she would like my soul very much.
Oh, why do you say that?
Mad Lad stops and he's he's now even grown even more quiet before.
And Sammy's gonna roll insight on that. Just dice parser, please be nice to me. Yes, a 19. Oh!
Yeah, Mad Lad is. He could definitely tell Mad Lad is hiding something. It's even more controversial than his blood. Like, yes. Like, the fear, like, he doesn't show the fear, it's just more like he really does not want to tell him this.
Sammy kind of, let's just gonna roll dex to see how well the making of the crowns are go. That's a 6.
I mean, he can obviously tell, like, Mad Lad has stopped completely. He's hardly even begun.
Oh, no, the 6 was more along the lines of me trying to see how well Sammy was making the flower crown.
I see.
And he got a 6. So he just kind of, he notices, and as soon as he stops weaving, everything just kind of floods into his lap. And he just kind of blink, sighs down at it, and then just kind of looks at Mad Lad and is like, you don't have to tell me, but sharing your problems and sharing things that are bothering you often makes it feel lighter and easier to bear. And who knows, maybe I can help.
I'm not very sure if you want to help a monster.
Kid, if you're a monster, then I'm a demon.
I'm serious, though.
And I'm serious, too. I've done things I'm not proud of. Things that scare even me.
But did you hurt your own family? Without even knowing it?
Sammy sighs and leans back a bit and is, yeah, I have hurt my family.
Mad Lad looks at him and he's gonna make an insight now. Yeah, he could definitely. Alright.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he is telling the truth.
Yep. And with that 14, you can sense that there is this kind of layer of regret and fear attached to that admission that Sammy had just given Mad Lad. And just his eyes are a little bit far away as if he's remembering something that happened in the past before he kind of shakes his head and looks back at you, Mad Lad, and is like, you don't have to tell me what happened, but it can help to share what happened from one monster to another.
Mad Lad slowly nods. I don't even technically know what happened. The moment it happened, I blacked out. The next thing I knew, I saw it happened so fast. It was a long time ago, but we were cornered on our ship. A rival pirate crew had captured us. And his tears started running down. A tear runs down one of his cheeks. It's like, during negotiations, the captain decided he didn't want to. The other captain decided he didn't want to negotiate, and since we were such a small crew, he killed her, or at least tried to. Stabbed her right through the chest. my mom. Last thing I remember is then after that everything went blank and I woke up and the whole rival pirate crew that was cornering us was dead and my crew was all bloodied up and battered and looking at me very concerned, but also I could tell there was fear in their eyes.
Sammy's gonna go dig into his sleeve and he pulls out a white handkerchief that's edged with rainbow, and he just kind of holds out his handkerchief and is like, "Here, just you can
Mad Lad
blow your
takes
nose
it.
with this."
Mad Lad sniffs and wipes his eyes and blows his nose.
I've had a similar experience, not to the extent of yours, but I never actually hurt my parents, but the woman who was supposed to be taking care of me in my parents' stead while they were doing business and such, my parents wanted me to do something, and Miss Nana, she was just trying to do her job and get me to the place that my parents wanted me to be at. And I broke her wrist because I was just so incredibly angry because I didn't want to do it.
Mad Lad gives another nod and this time puts down his flower crown and hugs Sammy.
And Sammy kind of just engulfs Mad Lad in a very tight hug. I don't think you're a monster. 'Cause to me, it sounds like you were just trying to protect them.
But when I woke up and when they told me about it, they seemed that they were convinced that I'd become a whole different person. Something that wasn't me, but at the same time, I mean, it came from me, so it had to be me, kind of, right? I don't know. And tears started to flow down his cheeks a little bit more as he tries to wipe them away.
Sammy's gonna pull out another that's a fumble. No, never mind. He is not pulling out his another handkerchief. He's gonna pull out, what's 18? Okay!
What does he pull out?
1 sec, I just need to really quickly make a dex save. Really quick, just to see if it actually... Okay. He pulls out from his sleeve not the handkerchief that he was looking for, but actually a loaded punching glove. But he kind of, by feel, realizes this is not the handkerchief I was looking for. And as he takes it out, he kind of aims it away from both himself and Mad Lad as it goes off and goes spring with the punching glove.
Mad Lad begins laughing.
And
even though there's still tears, it's just his mood has definitely improved even a little bit, just a little bit.
Because Toon is shenanigans, lightening up the moment. And Sammy kind of sighs and is like, I was trying to go for another handkerchief, and he just one moment, and he kind of shoves the kind of the sprung punching glove back into his hammer space, and he's gonna roll again. Okay, and he manages to pull out another white handkerchief edged with rainbow, and he just kind of gently wipes your face, Mad Lad, and just kind of hugs you a bit tighter, and is like, I don't know if that might have been the beginning of a warlock pact, or just something to do with your own storyline. But I'm sure you're going to find the answers, kiddo. It's gonna be okay.
Mad Lad is hugging him back very tightly. Sort of afraid to know the answer, but at the same time, I don't want to hurt anyone else.
Yeah, well, I can understand not really knowing if you're gonna hurt somebody else. And even though you're scared, sometimes knowing about what's going on is one of the biggest weapons you can have and a step into controlling it.
Mad Lad nods, and I'm gonna make an intelligence roll really quickly because I realized something. Okay, the DC was set really low. He then says, Mad Lad. My name's Mad Lad.
It's nice to meet you, Mad Lad. I'm Sammy.
Mad Lad smiles. And then he looks at the statue. Do you think she could help me?
I think she could. She really does like helping people.
Mad Lad nods. Not very sure if I could be up for it today. But
Well,
may
she comes out at night anyways. It's when it's daylight like this, it's harder for her to be here.
why is that?
From what I remember her telling me before, it's everything is incredibly intense when it's light out. When it's darker, things are a lot more quiet, so you can hear things that are needed.
That's weird. But I mean, I don't know Toon Gods, so I'm just gonna chalk this off to shenaniganery. I don't know.
Take it from me, when you can see the visual manifestation of people's voices when everyone is awake and talking, it's very headache inducing.
I'm not very sure about that, but I'll take your word for it. I like talking. I like talking to other people. I like making new friends.
Yeah, but have you ever been stuck in a crowd and just everybody is talking so much you can't understand anything?
I mean, yes.
That's what being in the daylight is for Prismatone. It's really hard for her to hear.
Oh. Okay. I guess that makes sense then.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to help you with your flower crown?
Sammy kind of looks at the mess in his lap and just kind of sighs and nods. Because he got a 6 earlier.
Mad Lad smiles. Here, let me show you how to do it. And I'm not very sure if I want to roll too, but
You know what? Roll just for fun to see how long it takes, Mad Lad.
all right. Not very sure what that would be.
Roll Dex. Just a straight
Dex?
Dex roll for me.
All right, straight Dex. That's all right.
Okay, 14.
All right.
I say that Mad Lad makes a really pretty good flower crown while showing Sammy, and you don't really need to roll insight for this because like he kind of opens his mouth to protest that hey, I can make flower crowns, I know how to do them, but then he just kind of shuts his mouth because he really doesn't want to pick a fight with Mad Lad, considering the fact that he had a very mangled mess of flour in his lap a while ago.
Yes. Let the child help.
Yes.
You see, you do this, and you gotta remember to put like pull this in tightly. And like eventually when he sees, she's like, and that's how you make a flower crown.
Sammy kind of claps as he appraises Mad Lad's finalized work, and he's like, "It looks really good." And then he kind of takes the flower crown from Mad Lad and then plops it on Mad Lad's head. There. Now you're king of the seas.
Yeah, I'm the king of the pirates.
Pirate
He's
king,
like,
pirate king, pirate king.
pirate king, pirate king. And he goes to hug Sammy again.
And Sammy hugs him back. And
Thanks for.
oh, you go ahead.
Oh, you say no. You say you go ahead.
Well, no, you go ahead. You had something to say.
I was to say, thank you for talking with me.
Of course. And I'm glad that you wandered in here.
Yeah, it's very pretty in here. Is this supposed to be? It looks like a theater. Is this supposed to be a revamped temple? Because it looks very different from the temples I'm used to seeing.
It's not really a temple. Back here is basically just a shrine. There were people here once. When Prismatone, she was gone for a bit before she came back, and a lot of people left because they couldn't reach her anymore. It wasn't her fault, but she was trapped. But when she came back, everything was in disrepair. So even before I'd met her, I'd stumbled upon a few places like this, and it bothered me, so I tried to fix them where I could. But this is kind of where I've settled down for now.
I see. So this is your home now?
Yeah, kind of. I have a house of paint that I can take wherever I want, but yeah, I stay here for the most part.
Cool. Very pretty place to stay.
Yeah, I'm glad you think so.
Mad Lad smiles.
And Sammy's eyes crinkle at that. Sammy's eyes crinkle kind of like as if he's smiling back.
I see. He just start to say. So, do you think maybe I can come back here later then?
Of course. My garden's always open to people wandering by. Even if I don't know them, often this is a place where I meet friends, or new friends, like you. And he just kind of gently squeezes you, Mad Lad.
Yeah, new friends. I don't have many friends yet, but I'm glad I made a new one.
I'm glad I did too. It's really nice to meet you, Mad Lad.
Nice to meet you too, Sammy.
And I feel like that could be a place where we can kind of fade off.
Yeah, I feel like it would be too.
All right.
Yeah, so much adorableness.
Yes, it was a very good, sweet FPS, even though I was quietly dying on the inside from parallels.
Yes, so many parallels.
Thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this FPS. Goodbye!
Goodbye!